My name is Davina Browne, and the topic that I will be speaking on for this podcast is tourism and infrastructure in St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands. My focus question is: how does tourism and poor infrastructure affect local residents in my neighborhood on St. Croix? So, I have here my grandfather,
Anthony Benjamin.
and I'll be interviewing him on our neighborhood back home in St. Croix. So, my first question is: how long have you been in the Virgin Islands?
Oh, it's quite a long time. I came here initially as a youngster back in 1972, and apart from maybe 5 or 6 years stateside, I've lived here ever since.
Okay. Um,
That's well beyond 50 years, put it
yeah,
that way.
it's well beyond 50 years.
Okay.
Okay. What has been your experience living in the Virgin Islands in terms of tourism and infrastructure, and have you had any issues?
Well, I suppose you would know, as do I,
Yeah.
that tourism is the main hub uh, of the Virgin Islands in terms of development and so on. If the tourism, structure is critical to the islands, as it is perhaps to most other islands in the Caribbean and the world. But the Virgin Islands, and more particularly St. Thomas, but the Virgin Islands, I think, ranks way up yonder, maybe one or two or three, no lower than that, in terms of the tourism product. So it's a big part of what we do here. And almost everything done here is done with that in mind. Given that St. Croix is not as much, tourism directed as is St. Thomas, the Virgin Islands as a whole, really thrives on the tourism dollar, so to speak.
Right. Okay, so what issues in our neighborhood have you had or have you experienced, and what is the government doing about it, if you've made any complaints?
Well, there are no major issues to my knowledge, as is the case everywhere else in the world. You do have some criminal elements, let's say, that you will have to deal with. There are some people who are who they are and who do what they do, and the locals, as well as, on occasions, a tourist or two, may become caught up with that, but that's not any worse than it is anywhere else in the world. That's a fact.
Right.
And the other thing to consider is that, because we're an island and we're far removed from the U.S. mainland, from whence the majority of our tourists will come, some things are slightly different. We drive on the opposite side of the street, for example, and that can be a problem for folks who are not accustomed to driving on the left as opposed to the right. But beyond that, the tourists come in and blend quite well and mesh quite well with what we do here after a while. So from an infrastructure perspective, and I'm not sure if we're there yet, but from an infrastructure perspective, almost everything is done with that in mind because it's our main product and we
Right.
have to do what we have to do to maintain it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Pops, for doing this interview. Again, my name is Davina Browne, and I was with, say your name.
Anthony
Yeah.
Benjamin.
Thank you for listening to our podcast.